Yeah. By the way, the other thing I just want, just as someone who I still don't want to give up on the word capitalism. I know I'm supposed to give up on the word capitalism, but I just don't want to give up on this word. Uh,
Don't give up on it. I
I
haven't
know I
given up
should.
on
I should give
liberal.
up on it. I get it. But
No.
look, there's this idea that like, oh, uh, shareholder capitalism has failed, so we need stakeholder capitalism. Blah 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 blah. Look, capitalism fundamentally is just property rights. That's all it is. It's property rights. How you run your company is up to you. You want to run your company where you maximize value for shareholders. That may or may not work out for you in the long run. Good companies often don't. They don't just do one at the exclusion of everything else, because company is a long-term thing. If you screw over your employees, eventually you're not going to have good employees. No one's going to want to work with you anymore. No one's going to want to work for you, and you're not going to be able to produce good products. Usually, what good companies focus on is the consumer. They make the consumers happy, and if that's their focus, everything else works out really well. They make sure they're trying to make the consumers happy long term. Okay, but this is like a management strategy. Like this is a unique thing that the company needs to decide. Companies are just groups of people that have contractual obligations to work together. That's all they are. So this group of people decides to run their company in some way. You don't shift the economy to this kind of capitalism and that kind of capitalism. That's not a thing unless you're planning to manage all of our corporations for us, which they are.
Hey, they are managing how many of our airlines? As part of the stimulus bill for Americans, right, where they bailed out the corporations, the COVID stimulus pack. Mm-hmm. They are managing, and we don't get to know which ones. They took control of several airlines.
I mean, we talked about this. I think Michael Rechtenwald mentioned this as well, but it's worth repeating to people. A lot of people think that they view socialism as the rise of socialism will be this. It comes from the masses and it does away with companies, and companies get absorbed by the state, and that's how socialism and communism arises. And so there's this inherent conflict between a large company and socialism. That's not always true. Gillette is one of the examples that he uses, where from day one, they were a socialist company. And their view of how socialism comes to be is that corporations just expand and expand and expand and expand, and eventually they merge with the government. And that's how socialism happens. So there's not necessary. And by the way, that seems to be the trajectory we're following. Google, yes. Amazon, Facebook. Just look at those three companies. Look how much they control. And how in bed with the government they are or will be. Look at even Zuckerberg, when they drag him in front of Congress, what does he say? I would support regulation. Of course you would support regulation. Of course you want to be regulated. He wants the marriage of the government and Facebook. They all want that marriage because it gives them more power and more control, and they can lock out competitors, and you don't have to worry about Parler anymore or MeWe or anything else. So yeah. The idea that threats to capitalism can't come from major corporations who are sleeping with the enemy is naive. Absolutely, they can.
You woke me up to this.